Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey, y'all. Darius Rucker here. You know, a lot of people ask me, what inspires your music? And one of the big things is a strong sense of place. That's why I love my home state of South Carolina and want to share the awesome things it has to offer. From the beautiful mountains down to the sunny coast, it's got it all. Not to mention two of my personal favorites, great golf and amazing food. Come see why I love this place. Visit discoversouthcarolina.com.
Greetings, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here, the Eric Erickson Show across the nation. You can call in today, 877-973-7425. My call screener / producer / director program for syndication is killing hogs in Florida now. That's not a euphemism for anything. No, he's actually like in a tree somewhere pointing a gun at a hog hoping to kill it, because this is what he does for like therapeutic catharsis. So you don't have to deal with him on the phones today. That's all I'm saying. He's probably listening right now, and I'm going to get a text message. Jerk, shut up. He doesn't have cell service where he is. So in any event, I can badmouth him. But I got to talk about something. Fox News, in all seriousness. Fox News. Oh, I guess did I give you that? I don't know. You people know it. Fox News, Bill Malugin from Fox News has been the only guy for quite some time to worry about, think about, ponder the border. He's been in South Texas. The guy's from California. He goes to South. He probably has like a condo down there at this point. I mean, the Biden administration is so furious with his coverage, they're attacking him as Abercrombie boy. He used to work at Abercrombie & Fitch. He was a model, and then he got into the news, and good-looking young guy who covers the border, and they're using that against him, suggesting that he's not all that smart. He's actually a pretty sharp guy, and he's been covering the border, and the Democrats are pretty furious about it because his reporting and the drone that he uses shows the extent of the mass humanitarian crisis at the border. But no one else has covered it. And those of you who regularly call this program, and the border is the issue that galvanizes you, you're like, why won't the media cover the border? Why won't the media focus on this? Why is the media quiet? Well, my theory had been the election. And I think I have been proven correct, because guess what? ABC News is now back at the border. Here's Matt Rivers from ABC News at the border with the firsthand account.
And you can see there are still hundreds of people behind me waiting to be processed by Border Patrol. Some people even lighting fires to try and stay warm. George, I can tell you I've been reporting in this exact spot in Ciudad Juarez for years now on migration. I have never seen anything quite like this.
Massive pile of humanity coming over. And now suddenly Axios is reporting the possibility of 14,000 migrant crossings a day is pushing the Biden administration toward a new rule that would severely limit migrants' abilities to qualify for asylum at the southern border. Officials are concerned that Border Patrol stations will face acute overcrowding, and Department of Homeland Security resources will be overwhelmed when the pandemic-era Title 42 policy ends December 21st. Title 42, implemented during the Trump administration and extended by President Biden, allows for the rapid expulsion of migrants and asylum seekers at the border. It's scheduled to be lifted in less than 2 weeks. Encounters with migrants at the southern border are already at record levels, with the daily tally surpassing 9,000 3 times in the first week. Officials now are preparing for the possibility of between 12,000 and 14,000 a day. The draft rule would impose an asylum ban for roughly 5 months. It would apply to both migrant single adults and families who cross illegally, as well as those who arrive at legal ports of entry without already having proper authorization. A final decision hasn't been made. A White House spokesman referred Axios to a recent tweet by Karine Jean-Pierre that emphasized no such decision's been made. The administration is committed to continuing to secure our border while maintaining safe, orderly, and humane processes. There are Ukrainians and Venezuelans and others storming the border, Cubans and Colombians. Now, I don't know if you know this. If you're from Rio Linda, California, you may not know that Ukraine doesn't touch the Rio Grande. Surprise! The Ukraine, in fact, Venezuela itself is not on the Southern American border. The only country that's there is Mexico. Or if you're an elitist progressive, Mexico. If you're from Rio Linda, I have no idea. I mean, people are literally flying into Mexico, hiring coyotes, that is the cartels that smuggle people north, and having them SUV them up to the border, and they get out and walk across. They swim across the Rio Grande in some cases. But there are some people who actually walk. I don't want to make light of people's plight, and I've said this before. It's been a while, but you should understand. Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, they're in a really tough state of being. The governments, in many cases, have collapsed. They run on bribery, graft, greed, corruption. Gang violence is extraordinary. It's sad, actually. Some of these people in Tegucigalpa will have someone show up at their door and say, you have 24 hours to find us $1,000 or we will behead you and your whole family. And the police are no help, and they know it. And so they pack up and they head north. And they don't own cars, so they walk. And it's a hell of a walk. They walk through the jungles of Central America, and they keep walking north into Mexico, hiding from the gangs. They head into the desert. These people are on foot. It took, by most accounts, Mary and Joseph 4 days to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem. They were doing it uphill. These people, it takes them months to walk to the American border. They get to Mexico, they hire cartels with their money. It's cheaper than the $1,000. They get taken to the border, many of them taken advantage of, some of them sold into slavery, some of them trafficked. Some of them get here. I have a great deal of sympathy for them. And it angers me that this political administration would so vigorously, so vociferously suggest to these people to come on. Remember, this is not a lie, and I know progressives get mad when you say this and they get defensive when you say this, but literally Joe Biden, after the election, told people the border is open. He told people, come on. He signaled to them that you wouldn't be treated like Donald Trump treated you. No more cages, and people took all of that as, oh, he literally means it. Let's go. In Biden's mind, he didn't literally mean it. He just wanted them to know that the humanitarian situation would be different. But they don't get the subtleties of Joe Biden's mind any more than Joe Biden gets the subtleties of Joe Biden's mind. And they started walking north. And now you've got people from outside of Central America, from South America, from Ukraine, from Cuba, from Jamaica, from Haiti. They save their money and they fly into the nearest airport they can fly into. They get into Monterrey, they get into Mexico City, and they head north, and they hire the cartels to get them across the border. And the gotaways are reaching 40, 50,000 a month. And if you're one of them listening, you know English, you're listening to this radio program somewhere, I want you to know we actually don't hate you. We love you. And we don't mind you coming to the United States. We could use the help. We've got labor shortages. But in our nation, we believe in the rule of law, and we have a process, and it's not a good process. It's a slow, bureaucratic process, but it's a process, and it's a law. And we want you to come, but we want you to follow the law. We don't want you to come across. There are thousands and thousands of people who are trying to get to this country legally, who have done the right thing, who have filed the paperwork, who have made the repeat visits to the embassy, who want to come, they want to work. They've shown the resilience and the reliance on a system to get here, and they follow the rule of law. And we want the people who follow the rule of law before we want the lawbreakers. We don't want you overwhelming the system. We're sorry for your plight. So one reason I do actually believe in the humanitarian process of foreign aid, and why I'm not opposed to the Biden administration treating the quote-unquote root causes in these countries, but that's not enough. We've got a humanitarian crisis at the border that Joe Biden provoked, and we've got a bunch of people who have broken our laws to get here, and they need to go home. I know we don't do bifurcation or nuance as a country anymore, but it is possible to love these people and want to help them, but to direct them to the nearest American embassy in Mexico to fill out the paperwork and comply with the rule of law. We do not have to open our arms when they break our laws to come here. Their stories can break our hearts, but they should not break our laws while breaking our hearts. There's a process, and they need to follow the process, and Joe Biden has provided incentive for them to come. And what I think is highly notable is that Bill Malugin of Fox News has been covering this for months and months and months and months and months. And only now is ABC and CBS and NBC and CNN and MSNBC and Axios and the New York Times and the Washington Post, now that the election is over, now that we're in December, now that we're at the end of the year, suddenly, oh my gosh, the border crisis, Title 42 is going away and there's a crisis and they've got no plan of action. What are we going to do? Malugin and Fox have been telling us this for 6 months. This is not a new story. This is a very old story. It's only new to the members of the media who refused to cover the story for so long. That's a problem. John in Swanee, relevant to this conversation. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, Mr. Erickson, thank you so much for taking my call. I'm doing well, and God bless you, your family, especially this holiday.
Thank you very much.
I definitely agree with you. You have a tender heart. You've expressed it very well. We do have. This nation has always had a tender heart for individuals in desperate times. They've been coming over here for a long time. Like you said, nobody covered it. Now they're covering it. Well, what is happening about returning them? How many are being returned? Or are they... the administration not willing to return these individuals?
So that's a great question. I've actually pulled up the Customs and Border Patrol statistics. So in June, which is the latest one I can find where all the statistics are now in, there were 153,379 enforcement encounters. That doesn't include the gotaways. That's an additional 50,000. So about 203,000. Of the ones they encountered at the southern border, 68% were single adults, 44% were immediately expelled. 27% had families and were not immediately expelled but processed for expulsion. They're the ones who stayed in the little tents there. 4% of the encounters were unaccompanied children, and they're being processed and trying to find family, and they're in holding. So a significant portion of them are immediately expelled, but a whole lot of them are just piled up on the southern border. And what Border Patrol doesn't tell us is that if they're there for more than 30 days, so let's look at this number. There were 153,379 of them. Let's say 40,000 of them are held for more than 30 days. According to a judicial settlement between the federal government and a relief immigration agency from some years ago, if they're held for more than 30 days, they have to let them go in the United States.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding, there's a somewhat of a restriction by ICE that they cannot round up those in Gwinnett County that are here illegally and send them back.
So if I remember it right, John, and I let me answer this. I got to let you go so I can get a commercial break. Thanks for the call. If I remember it right, it's that the Gwinnett County local law enforcement, which really does the legs on this, hasn't cooperated with ICE on this. If I remember that right, there are a couple of counties that aren't. They don't want to get roped into some of this, but ICE can round up illegal immigrants wherever they are. They tend to rely on local governments to help them, and a lot of local governments are not willing to help the federal government do these sorts of things, in large part because then the federal government burdens the local governments with the requirements of housing them. So they talk out of both sides of the mouth. They say, well, we've stopped all these people, but yet if they hold them for 30 days and don't get them out immediately, they let them go into the country. And then they say, well, local law enforcement won't work with us. And local law enforcement's like, yeah, we won't work with you because if we help you at all, you put the burden and the cost on us and don't reimburse us. It's a very bad system run by the federal government that needs to be fixed.
A friend of mine and I were discussing Boll and Branch sheets the other night when he was sitting on the front porch with me, and he didn't believe that they got softer and softer every time you washed them. His wife was not convinced at all. She figured it was all marketing hype. Now she wants Boll and Branch sheets for all of their beds at home. Why? Because they really do get softer every time you wash them. They're free of toxins, pesticides, harsh chemicals at every step of the process. They're the finest 100% organic cotton on earth. They're made by artisans who earn the pay and the respect they deserve. And right now, you can bring home a better night's sleep this holiday season with Boll and Branch bedding. Their signature sheets even come wrapped and ready in a beautiful holiday gift box. It's going to look good. It's going to feel great. For a limited time, get 20% off your first set of sheets and free shipping when you use promo code ERIC at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com. Promo code is ERIC, ERICK at bollandbranch.com.
Hello and welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. Listen, if you're on hold, stay on hold because I've only got, less than a minute actually. But right now I also need to tell you 74% of individuals responding to a Fox Business News survey said they had to adjust their grocery shopping habits in the previous year. That meant downgrading regular purchases or opting for alternatives to regular purchases. Wow. You know, it is half of Americans have had to not fill up their car with gas of late, and 20% of Americans have gotten to grocery store checkouts and had to put stuff back when they couldn't afford the bill. And thankfully, the situation has improved. Gas prices in particular have come down, and that's going to lower a lot of other prices over time. But it's still a very difficult situation out there. Really difficult. One place where it's not difficult to get great stuff with great value at a great price is Omaha Steaks. And if you go right now to omahasteaks.com at checkout, you can put my name in, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and you can save $40 on your overall order. Minimum orders apply. omahasteaks.com. If you don't know what to get for someone, you can also put my name in the search bar. In fact, let's see, omahasteaks.com. I'm pulling it up right now on the office Wi-Fi. And I'm putting Eric in. I see Eric Erickson name pop up, and I click in. And what is the miracle package that I get from Omaha Steaks? Look at that. The featured Christmas gift and 50% off site-wide. And on most orders, you get $40 off at checkout. But look at this, the featured Christmas gift. You get butcher-cut top sirloin, boneless chicken breast, potatoes au gratin, caramel apple tartlets. You get free Omaha steak burgers. But at checkout, you put in Eric, E-R-I-C-K, you get $40 off. Minimum orders apply on that, however. This is great stuff, great value, great food. The great people at Omaha Steaks who want you happy, want to take care of you at omahasteaks.com. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I will. Oh, really? Okay. Hey, you know what? Richard, I'm going to come to you next. I saw the comment. It's like, what? Okay.
Okay. Eric, thank you. Now let me set this up for you and for your audience. Recently, I was required in a seminary course to memorize Matthew chapter 5. Mm-hmm. And, of course, in that chapter, Jesus is presenting the initial, he's doing the Beatitudes and aspects of the law. And he says, and he gets into a little thing about divorce. So in order for me to memorize all 48 verses of that chapter, I created memory pegs, so that I could visualize something that connected me to this paragraph or the verse. And I visualized flipping on the radio, a sports talk show, and hearing an ad for lawyers wanting to give people divorces, which sickens me, and it causes me sometimes to scream. So that was how I remembered to recite the part about divorces in the chapter. But thank the Lord and everything else, you don't advertise for these idiot blanky blank 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 lawyers wanting to give people divorces. It sickens me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, Richard, first of all, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm probably a terrible businessman, and I got to tell you. In fact, I'll read you. I was writing up language last night for my team to put a thing in trades because I'm gonna need to at some point probably get some additional people to work on sales. I've got some inventory. I'm expanding nationally the program, and so here's what I went with. This is the language I came up with. The Eric Erickson Show is growing nationally, needs to grow its sales team. We've got inventory to fill, but we got a real problem. Our host doesn't like to take money from advertisers he doesn't believe in. He thinks he sells best what he likes best, so expect high sales and long relations when he commits, but a lot of rejections first. Want to work with a host who doesn't want to sell anything but the right thing? Call us. That my team doesn't want me to go with expect a lot of rejections language. They want me to strike that. But I just, whether it was a lie or not, I grew up listening to Paul Harvey because my dad listened to Paul Harvey. The only time of day you were guaranteed to get a spanking in my house was between 12 and 12:15 when Paul Harvey was on if you made noise. And he really sounded to me like these are the things that he really believes in, whether it was a sales pitch or not. And I've just kind of taken that to heart. I get asked all the time to advertise for stuff, and I say no 9 times out of 10. No offense to friends of mine who do the survival foods, but I don't actually believe the world is coming to an end tomorrow, and I'm not going to try to scare people into survival foods.
Yes.
And I don't believe in divorce. Now, I've got lots of friends who are divorced. I love them.
Sure.
I understand the complexities of the situations. I actually have some listeners, they're Delta flight attendants, and they came to a Bourbon and Butts event, and they're like, we want to remind you we're divorced, and we hear what you say. I want them to know I love them and I get it, and life is complex, and who am I to judge?
We're not beating them up. Yeah.
But also the hey, you out of love with your spouse, you want a divorce, we'll make him pay for it. Come to us. I don't want to do that. It's like when I drive down the road and see all the billboards, like in Atlanta, they're everywhere. Every lawyer has a billboard. You're in a wreck, call me. I don't listen. I was a lawyer, and I understand people they get divorced. They need a good lawyer. A friend of mine needed a divorce, and I actually called friends of mine who I respect, and they recommended a lawyer, and she wound up not having a good experience, and now I'm loath to recommend anybody as a lawyer. But look, first of all, I appreciate the compliment. I really do. Thank you. I just, philosophically, it sucks for me because I will put it to you this way. There is a company. This company advertises heavily a product on conservative talk radio stations. And they came to my flagship station, and they wanted me to do the advertisement. And they wanted to throw an obscene amount of money at my radio station, my flagship radio station, wherein I am actually employed. I am an employee of the company. They wanted to pay 7 figures to my radio station, my flagship radio station, at a time when radio stations are trying to get all the money they possibly can. This company wanted to be on our radio station, and the condition was that my voice had to be used. And my boss was, dude, I think you got to do this one. We're not owned by the same owners anymore. We're owned by a big private equity company now, and I think you need to do this. And I was really not comfortable advertising for this company, because the more I looked into the company, the more I didn't believe in the product. And they weren't just going to throw 7 figures at my radio station. They were going to throw a lot of money at me. I mean, they were going to throw close to 6 figures at me to do it. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And there was this inordinate amount of pressure to do it. And I got to tell you, as much as I quibble sometimes with the management of my company, as every employee is wont to do, they ultimately are like, if you're not comfortable doing it, do not do it. Because when you sell a product, people know you believe in the product, and we would rather you sell the products you believe in because people are going to be able to tell. Radio is an intimate medium. And I was like, I can't bring myself to – I tried every which way to rationalize for the money, to help the station, to make money. I've done events for radio stations for free. I haven't charged them anything, just because I know the economics of radio right now. It's not good. Radio is a business where most of the people who own the radio stations of America are convinced radio is dying, and they just want to bleed it dry of all of its money before it's left to die. I actually think radio is useful. You cannot get, when you're driving in your car, a TV station to give you the latest news. You turn to your local radio station, and we give you the traffic. We give you the weather. We tell you where the traffic jams are, if you're a big station, and then you provide news. And what you also do is you provide a voice, an intimate, meaningful voice, a connection. And I'll tell you what I've learned over the years from all of you. Radio is the most intimate medium, because you can't see whether I'm smiling or scowling, whether I'm serious or joking. It has to be conveyed by my voice. And because you begin to know a person by their voice, you develop a more intimate relationship with that person than you do the person on television. And so if I am trying to sell you a product I don't believe in, you're going to be able to hear it. And listen, I've got friends who have gone through divorces, and they needed to go through a divorce. I have had friends where I have told them,
this is what you need to do. And I'm not going to judge someone who got a divorce. I know what Scripture says. And if it can be discouraged, it should. But who am I to judge my sin against someone else's, my situation against someone else's? And then what do? You've got a couple, they found each other, they're happy, they're remarried, they have children now. What do you do? Well, I'm sorry, you got to go back to your original spouses now. Never mind that you've got kids. No, it's a very messy, complicated situation. Let God sort that out. You just love your neighbor. But I don't want to do the, hey, I got the divorce lawyer for you. If you do, okay. And it makes it difficult for me as I grow. So, for example, I've got a lot of inventory outside of my flagship station. When you hear PSAs and stuff coming across, when you hear me doing a duplicate voice ad, that's spots I could fill with ads. But I'm just particular, and I would rather not fill the ad block if they want to use my voice than use my voice for something I don't believe in. This is a long tangent. All I'm trying to do is listen. I tell you guys all the time that there is truth. It's not your truth and it's not my truth. There's actual truth in the place, and that we should be committed to the truth. And I do not think I can honestly and sincerely do my radio show where I try to commit to the actual truth of the situation if I'm then lying to you about a product that I think is great on radio that I actually don't use and don't believe in. So when I tell you I am a Patriot Mobile customer, I actually am. When I tell you I believe in the Eden Pure Thunderstorm's ability to wipe out a bad odor and that I keep it in my suitcase, I really do. When I tell you I work with Americans for Prosperity, I've worked with them since 2007, 2008 with the rise of the Tea Party movement. And when I tell you I've been a longtime customer of Omaha Steaks, I am. The funniest commercial I have ever done in my life is for Sherry's Berries, which I haven't done this holiday season. So I'm not an advertiser of theirs right now, and I will tell you God's honest truth. This is not a made-up story. Everyone in this building where I am right now, my flagship station, probably remembers this. The very first time I ever did a Sherry's Berries commercial, I gagged on air in the middle of the live read. So as I say in the ad, and by the way, they kept me as an advertiser for a very long time. This is the first year in a while I haven't done a Sherry's Berries ad. I actually am a customer of Sherry's Berries as well. In fact, I sent some out the other day. Not an ad for them because they're not paying me or anything. But I hate strawberries. There are very few things on earth that gross me out more than a strawberry. I hate the smell of a strawberry. I hate to look at a strawberry. I will not touch anything that has touched a strawberry. If you bring me, for example, a creme brulee, which I love, and there is a strawberry garnish, I will send it back to the kitchen. And if it comes back and there is even a hint that all you did is take the strawberry off of it, I will not eat it. I despise strawberries. In fact, I hate them so much, I tend to just tell people I'm allergic to strawberries because I actually am allergic to melons. But strawberries, I despise the strawberry. And I'm trying in this live read to tell people how good and juicy and big, and I started gagging. But the truth of the matter is my oldest sister is addicted to strawberries, which is maybe why I hate them so much. My oldest sister loves Sherry's Berries, and when I was in college, I started sending them to her. And to this day, if she gets them, she'll fight you for them. You better not go touch her berries, her Sherry's Berries in the refrigerator. And so I tell these stories that, listen, they're not my thing, but my family loves them, and I send them as gifts, and they're actually really cool. They are very well done, and they're giant, and they're juicy, and they gross me out so bad, and everybody loves them except for me. I hate strawberries and peaches. Here I am living in the peach state, and just the smell of a peach makes me want to gag. But nonetheless, I digress. But I could do the commercial because I've been sending these things since I was in college. Like Omaha Steaks. Y'all, I've been sending Omaha Steaks since probably 1996 to people. They've been around since 1917. I've been sending them out since like 1996. I don't want to sell you people crap that I don't believe in. This has been a segment I did not intend to do. And
It would, but I appreciate the compliment, and I hope you guys notice it. And that's why when I tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, I actually do use I don't use it as an air purifier. I don't use it as an air purifier for a number of reasons, one of which is it's an air purifier that actually does produce ozone. And for a lot of people, that's fine. For my son, it's not. But we keep these in our house and use them all the time because of odors. We have a back porch that was glassed in years ago before we moved into the house. Actually, it was screened in, and then we glassed it in. But it was never well insulated, and it occasionally gets a musty smell. And I can take the Eden Pure Thunderstorm that I keep on our glassed-in back porch, I can plug it in, fire it up, come back in about 10 minutes, and the smell is gone. It is absolutely just wiped out. Or I got a rental car in Louisiana one time, and it smelled like it had been sprayed by a skunk, if you get my drift. My mother was convinced it was a skunk, and I'm like, Mom, I assure you, this was not a skunk. It reeked. I could smell it. Like when I got into the parking deck, I could smell that smell, and I got closer and closer to the rental car. The rental car people are already gone. And I was like, thank God I've got the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. I had to get to my parents' house and undo the bags and stuff, and fired it up in the car. It had a USB port. I could plug it in with a USB port, and it took care of the whole problem. Musty hotel rooms, litter box odors, pet odors. Like my wife despises, like I hate strawberries. My wife hates shrimp. She despises shrimp, and I love shrimp. And when she's out of the house, I'll fry shrimp inside instead of going out on the back porch with my outdoor fryer. And then I can fire up the Eden Pure Thunderstorm and poof, odor is gone. She has no idea. Or if you're a certain friend of mine who started smoking cigars in his car and didn't want his wife to know, you just fire up the Eden Pure Thunderstorm and it wipes out that odor. No idea, people. It really works. You can get 3 of them for less than $200. You can save $200 and you get free shipping. It is EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. Delighted to have you with me. And another company I really believe in is First Liberty Building and Loan. I actually know the Frost family. They're a really good Christian conservative family in Noonan, Georgia. They have First Liberty. They've been helping small businesses become big since the mid-'90s, early 90s, and they can help any business wherever you're listening. If you're on our affiliate over in Salem, Oregon, or you're in Portland, Maine, you're in our affiliate in Orlando, it doesn't matter. If you need a big deal because you want to be a big deal, reach out to them, FirstLibertyGA.com. I feel like I'm losing listeners after this last monologue. We'll see. Go back to the phones, though. First, Jason, welcome.
Hey, Eric. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I just wanted to comment on one of your previous callers about it was specifically about the not taking the divorce lawyer things, which I think is pretty amazing. I've listened to your show for a while out of Alabama and never really paid attention to it until you just said it. And to me, I think that's just a principle of character. I mean, and I think that's the problem is and you just don't see that these days. I mean, I believe in that too. I don't believe in divorce. It's the same thing as if I had a friend tell me that they asked me they wanted to be in a plot to kill my neighbor. I'm not going to do it because it's just the principle of my character. You just don't do it. So I just wanted to praise you and say that's awesome character.
Well, look, I really thank you very much. I'm getting more compliments today, Jason, than my normal call screener would allow. So I'm glad Anna's here to do this. And this isn't a pat me on the back sort of thing. I just look, and if you need a great divorce lawyer, and there are people who do, there are some great ones out there. I don't want to. I mean, there, but by the grace of God go I. There are days I wake up where I think, oh, Lord, my wife's going to divorce me today. She's furious at something I've done. Like the other day, I promised to start the dishwasher, and she got up, and I had never started the dishwasher the night before, and all the kids' lunchbox stuff was still in there waiting to be washed. Was not a fine moment on my part. That's all right. Y'all, I got my wife the coolest Christmas present. And I can't tell you what it is because her father might listen and will tell her. Someone will tell her. But when I can, nonetheless. All right, we got to move on because this isn't about me. There's a lot of other news out there, including I haven't gotten to bashing Kevin McCarthy yet. Got to do that. There's actually the Wall Street Journal has polling out that echoes the USA Today polling that DeSantis is surging. But when I come back, we need to talk about crime. There are some disturbing stories out there. And we actually genuinely, I want to talk about this because there's an angle to this. Here in Atlanta, there's a disturbing story of a grandmother who was murdered the other day. But I actually want to talk about Chicago and what happened in Chicago that you're probably not going to hear about in the national press because of this crime situation.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.